And here's a look at the 7-day forecast where the weekend is always in view. Chance for showers tomorrow, but before then you can enjoy a pretty nice fall-like day today.
Thank you, Sean. It's 5:58. Here's a live look over Albert Lee. We'll be right back.
Hello, mic check, mic check.
One, two, three.
This morning on Daybreak, why one Rochester public school is encouraging students to walk to school today and how officials are promoting safety in the surrounding neighborhoods.
And we'll tell you how some parents are helping with their area school staffing shortages.
And I'm meteorologist Sean McAday tracking your forecast for your walk to school this morning.
KIMT News 3, coverage you can count on. This is KIMT News 3's Daybreak, live from our Rochester studio.
Good morning, I'm Tyler Utska.
And I'm Brooke McKivergan. Thank you so much for watching KIMT News 3's Daybreak.
It is Wednesday, October 6th today, the time now 6:01. Feeling pretty fall-like as of this morning.
You just saw Sean outside. Let's check in with him now. Sean, what's that walk to school this morning going to look like?
Well, I think it's going to be, Brooke and Tyler, mostly cloudy across the area. And I'm wearing a jacket right now, but it honestly doesn't feel all that cold. Temps currently in the mid-50s. In Rochester currently, that's what it is, 56, 55 degrees. If it were any cooler, well, we could be starting to talk about that potential for fog, but really not seeing that across most of the area this morning. Temps across the area pretty widespreadly, if I can use that word, in the mid-50s. That's what we're seeing. And on the way out the door, on your way to school, mostly cloudy skies this morning, and still mostly cloudy later on this afternoon. Over the next couple hours, temps are going to remain in the mid-50s. So all in all, not a bad walk to school this morning. It is above average for this time of year.
Thank you, Sean. Happening today, more students than usual will be walking or riding their bikes to school this morning for National Walk to School Day.
And KIMT News 3's Madeline Watkins joins us live now in Rochester to tell us what schools are taking part in it this year and where you need to keep an extra eye on the roads at this morning. Madeline, good morning to you.
Good morning, Brooke and Tyler. I am at Elton Hills Elementary School here in Rochester, and I know that it's still really dark outside this morning, but on this sign that's just directly in front of the school, they have some important dates that you need to know, and that includes today for National Walk to School Day. So I think staff is really excited to welcome all of those walkers as well as bike riders to the school this morning. And in fact, Elton Hills Elementary School is the only RPS school that's participating this year. So Walk to School Day is all about encouraging students and their families to get out and enjoy the outdoors before heading to school for the day. The goal is to mingle with their neighbors while engaging in physical activity, and most importantly, it helps promote safety within the neighborhoods. The Safe Routes to School coordinator with RPS has some reminders for drivers who will be out on the area later on this morning.
Watching for kids who are walking, especially in school zones and around bus stops. Sometimes children are not as aware as adults are, so watching for them when they're crossing roads, and also being mindful of speeds, especially school zone speeds.
There are two school crossing intersections that are near this school. The first one is just right here at the intersection of 15th Avenue and Elton Hills Drive, and then the other one is directly in front of the building. So just keep an extra eye if you will be out driving in this area this morning. There will be some crossing instructors out directing the traffic, of course, this morning. Live in Rochester, Madeline Watkins, KIMT News 3.
Thank you, Madeline. Elton Hills Elementary School starts at 9:20, so just be on the lookout for more students on the sidewalks around 8:45.
Some Minnesota schools are so short on educators that they're asking parents to fill in. The Rosemount, Apple Valley, and Eagan district is in desperate need of substitute teachers. So much so that Woodland Elementary School sent out a plea to parents asking if anyone was willing to get their license and help out. 9 parents have started that process. The only prerequisite is a 4-year college degree, a licensing class, and then a background check. Then in about 30 days, they'll be ready to be trained by the school district.
You can, move people around and shift people around and try to teach myself, but it just really is hard to run a school when you don't have enough coverage.
And part of her recruiting pitch is a $165 payout for just substituting one day and the opportunity to work every day. St. Paul Public Schools says it's also dealing with the substitute shortage, but the staffing shortage goes well beyond just for substitutes.
This morning, we're taking a closer look at the health disparities that are still present when it comes to COVID-19 response. A recent study found that nearly 500,000 excess deaths from the first 9 months of the pandemic found double the number of deaths among Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans when compared to white and Asian Americans. Dee Sable with the Rochester Diversity Council says that's not only the case nationwide, it also reflects the state of Minnesota.
Caucasian white makes up 80% of the population, but only accounts for 69% of COVID cases and only 64% of ICU hospitalizations. So, I mean, twice the percentage of the population is reflected in some of those spaces, especially in ICU, utilization during COVID.
She says one positive thing the pandemic has shown us is that there are people who genuinely care about correcting the health disparities, and there are several resources available to help out. We'll tell you more about those in a live report in just a few minutes.
And there's new research on how well COVID-19 vaccines work in those who have already been infected with the virus. Dr. Mark Jenkins, an immunologist at the University of Minnesota, just published some research that shows that people who haven't had COVID-19 and get the Moderna or Pfizer vaccines get solid protection. But people who have had COVID-19 get 6 times that protection from just the first dose of the vaccine. Dr. Jenkins also says that they may have so much protection that they will not have to get that booster shot. And this study does not include the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
A man is facing charges for the shooting death of a Garner man in downtown Mason City. Right now, Jelani Falk of Chicago is being held on a $5,000 bond. He is expected to be charged with first-degree murder. Court documents say Mason City police officer Noah Freeze responded to the sound of gunfire on Sunday, where he identified 2 men running toward him. Freeze ordered the men, later identified as Falk and Christopher Keys of Dubuque, to the ground. Keys complied, but Falk pointed a handgun at the officer, who then shot Falk. He was transported to Mercy One North Iowa for medical treatment. Freeze was not hurt. Officers then located 35-year-old Christopher Tucker of Garner nearby, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He died after being airlifted to Mayo Clinic.
'Tis almost the season. Find out how the Mayo Civic Center, that is, will be transformed into a winter wonderland come December.
And we have the latest on what could be coming to the Mason City Airport.
And here's a live look right now over Rochester. I'm tracking a pretty mild start to the day and pretty much a mild day overall, although it is going to be a bit above average later on this afternoon.
You're watching KIMT News 3 Daybreak, live from our Rochester studio. News with Tyler Yutzka and Brooke McKibbergan. Tracking storms with Storm Team 3 meteorologist Sean McAday, who has your accurate local forecast every 10 minutes. This is KIMT News 3, local news from your community. We are coverage you can count on.
Mic check, 1, 2.
Well, it's never too early to start thinking about decorating for the holidays. This December, Rochester is welcoming the North's largest indoor light park.
KIMT News 3's Alex Dieter joins us live with more on these delightful festivities. Alex, good morning.
Good morning, Brooke and Tyler. I'm outside the Mayo Civic Center, where for the first time this December, they will host Rochester's first Northern Lights Festival. More than 25,000 square feet of indoor lights, the Light Park is a self-guided experience with immersive experiences and interactive elements. The Northern Lights Festival will begin December 2nd and end December 19th with a Christmas concert on December 17th. Founder of the Northern Lights Festival, Mitch Riem, said he envisions making Rochester the winter capital of the upper Midwest. With the fun of the indoor winter wonderland comes some concerns about keeping the community safe during a pandemic. Riem said safety of the community is their #1 priority.
Yeah, everyone's safety is important to us. So whatever the state and additionally Rochester and Civic Center guidelines at the time will be, is how we'll be running things here. You know, this is our second year doing events during COVID. Unfortunately, it's still a role in all of our lives. So we've kind of figured out, you know, you get your plan A through Q.
Riem said he sees the festival as a collection and celebration of the ruggedness of winter and the beauty of winter all at the same time. Live in Rochester, Alex Dieterer, KIMT News 3.
Thank you very much, Alex. That sounds awesome. Love that it's inside too. KIMT will of course keep you informed on all and any of the updates to this festival as we get closer to December.
It's now 6:12 on this Wednesday, not feeling like Christmas at all just yet.
Yeah.
57 degrees out there.
No, still pretty warm. Let's get an update with KIMT Storm Team 3 meteorologist Sean McAday. Sean.
Yeah, so this morning actually going to be an above average commute to work or a walk to school day. And what you can expect with that forecast, temperatures are going to And, well, temperatures will be rising into the mid-60s, but sometimes, you know, the reality graphics our computer graphics don't want to work that well. That's fine. So temps right now in southern Minnesota are currently, not temps, the traffic currently clear, so is North Iowa. Basically, the morning commute looking pretty good, no matter if you're driving or walking.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Sean.
Area animal shelters still have their doors shut to the public, first because of the pandemic, but now it's because of staffing shortages. We spoke with the executive director of the Humane Society of North Iowa, Sybil Sukup, to learn more about why they're still helping people look for pets under an appointments-only basis.
You know, there's always going to be people that come out to just look at animals, you know, unexpectedly, and then, you know, they might connect with somebody that they see while they're looking, and then that leads to an adoption. And unfortunately, that kind of thing isn't happening right now since we're closed to the public. But we tell people, you know, if you're interested in adding a pet to your family, you know, you don't have to list exactly who you're interested in. You can just say, you know, I want to come look.
The Humane Society of North Iowa has over 100 cats and 35 dogs ready to be adopted.
Updates could soon be coming to the Mason City Airport. The manager there, David Sims, says the current terminal was built back in 1965 and isn't ADA compliant and does not meet current building and fire codes. Right now, the airport board has two options on the table. That's to renovate the current building or build a new one.
Just this past Sunday, I flew in on a flight myself. The airplane was almost full coming in and almost full leaving, and the terminal lobby was completely packed.
Clearly needs some room. Now, any construction or renovation is not expected to start until next fall at the earliest.
Today, Senate Democrats will try to suspend the debt ceiling. We have the latest on the possible recession as we inch closer to the deadline.
Also, a Senate subcommittee hears testimony from Facebook's whistleblower. We'll tell you Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO, his response.
Good morning. It is 6:17 on this Wednesday.
Let's get you an update on the forecast. KIMT Storm Team 3 meteorologist Sean McAday is standing by. Sean, pretty comfortable out there right now.
Yeah, pretty comfortable. You probably do want a jacket when you're stepping out the door. Temps are currently in the mid-50s, but we're not tracking too much in the way of fog across the area at this hour. Actually, it's just mostly cloudy, and the actual clouds are what's keeping the fog at bay. Yesterday evening, more cloudy than we thought, no doubt, but those clouds kept heat towards the surface all night, and they're keeping it from getting cold enough to see that fog that we've been seeing the past several mornings. 57 in Rochester right now, so rather comfortable outside and an above average start to the day. Typically our overnight lows are in the 40s this time of year. But if it were only a couple degrees cooler, like 54 degrees, it would push that dew point down and we'd be talking about fog. But right now, we're not really seeing that through most of the area as temps are pretty widely in the mid-50s, even 61 in Charles City. There is a little bit of fog in some spots. It's mostly like towards maybe some blips of it towards parts of Dodge County and north of there along I-35. But yeah, aside from that, pretty comfortable morning. Mostly cloudy skies across the area. Later on, I'm going to be tracking more rain chances through pretty much the next 2 weeks. It starts with this first system, which funny enough, is coming in from the south. Normally, we're tracking stuff moving in from the west. But this is moving in from around Tennessee right now, and you can see this is a low-pressure system with a lot of rain associated with it. Some of that is going to move in with scattered showers for tomorrow, but for now, just your walk to school, and this is what I was trying to show you earlier, temps in the mid-50s this morning. They do rise around 9 a.m. into the 60s, and then after that, we make it all the way back into the low 70s again later on this afternoon. Mostly cloudy skies during the morning hours, even during the early afternoon. Maybe during around 4 or 5 p.m., things are becoming just a little bit more sunny, highs in the low 70s. Later on today, the winds are not too strong. Let me run you through today, and then we'll get to those rain chances. How about that? Low 70s this afternoon. You can see the clouds are lightening up a little bit. And don't worry about the radar, the simulated radar you're seeing today. Computer models not doing a good job of simulating rain today. Our rain chances today are actually very, very, very low, so you are unlikely to see them. That does not hold through tomorrow. Tomorrow, the actual system gets closer with scattered chances for showers, maybe a couple isolated showers. Tomorrow, look at this. That's your commuting hours, 5, 6, 7 a.m. These showers are rolling through the area. Temperatures again in the low 70s, but now the system out of the south is bringing more moisture, more heat, and temperatures are going to start to rise into closing in on the upper 70s later on Friday afternoon, mid to upper 70s. And then we're talking about more chances for rain. Thursday, there's that better chance for rain. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, some continued smaller chances here and there. But I even think the 7-day forecast shows the best chance for rain. It's Monday. Rain showers coming our way with another system, this time coming from the west, and that will really continue. That pattern of rainy weather continues probably through next week. So these are not going to be the last rain chances we see this October.
Yeah, getting closer to what October should kind of feel like for us.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, a little bit by bit.
Thank you, Sean.
Happening today, Democrats are preparing to try to resolve the debt ceiling crisis, but Republicans seem poised to yet again block the plan as Congress inches closer to the October 18th deadline.
Meanwhile, President Joe Biden is still working on getting his Build Back Better bill passed. Here's Laura Podesta.
Today, Senate Democrats will try to suspend the debt ceiling through December of next year.
If Republicans would just get out of the damn way, we could get this all done.
Republicans have blocked previous efforts over the past few weeks and are expected to do so again.
Republicans are not going to be a part of their massive spending and tax spree.
But Democrats are quick to point out the two aren't related. The debt ceiling allows the U.S. to pay its bills, including those racked up during previous administrations.
There's nothing to do with money spent in the future. It's all money that's spent in the past.
If the debt ceiling is not raised or suspended by October 18th, the U.S. would default, possibly causing a recession.
It would be catastrophic.
A lengthy process to raise the debt ceiling would delay other priorities, like President Biden's legislative agenda.
Other countries are speeding up and America's falling behind. We've got to reset the pace again.
The president visited Michigan yesterday to sell his Build Back Better plan, the $3.5 trillion proposal being scaled back in hopes of garnering support from moderates like Senator Joe Manchin.
We've been talking about everything.
It's unclear what might be cut to bring down the price, but a group of House Democrats told the president their priorities include new climate protections, paid family leave, universal pre-K, and an extension of the child tax credit. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
To raise the debt ceiling, President Biden says Democrats are considering changing the Senate's filibuster rules, which would lower the typical 60-vote threshold to 50. But moderates like Senator Manchin and Arizona's Kristen Sinema have been opposed to raising it for other issues this year.
On Tuesday, a Senate subcommittee heard testimony from a former Facebook employee turned whistleblower. Frances Haugen said the social media giant knows its products can be harmful but won't make changes unless they're forced to. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg responded last night saying the company does not prioritize profits over the well-being of its users. And coming up next, find out how much shares of Facebook rebounded by after being under scrutiny.
And Disney is bringing back indoor meet and greets again. We'll tell you what new policies are now in place. As we get closer to Halloween, the creepy dolls at the History Center of Olmsted County are ready for some fun. Take a look. Check out this year's lineup of antique dolls. The History Center wants you to vote for the doll that gives you the creeps. You can vote on their Facebook page or visit the dolls in person to cast your vote. These are so creepy. The 2021 winner will be revealed at the Creepy Doll Cocktail Party, which is on October 23rd at the Castle in downtown Rochester. Voting ends at midnight on October 22nd. When I was a reporter, I did a story on these, and the guy at the History Center was saying at night when they put these up, things move around, things get really weird at night at the History Center.
Well, that one has a striking resemblance to you.
And the bald one kind of looks like you.
Now, don't get out of line, Miss McKibben.
Oh, bizarre. You belong in there. All right, Kellogg employees are on strike.
And Disney parks are bringing back indoor meet and greets with iconic characters. Here's Diane Kinghall to tell us more in today's CBS Money Watch report.
Stocks rebounded on Tuesday. The Dow Industrials rallied 311 points. The Nasdaq rose 178, and the S&P 500 added 45. Shares of Facebook rebounded 2% after being one of the big tech losers on Monday. The company is under scrutiny in Washington. Whistleblower Frances Haugen told lawmakers Facebook aims to maximize profits no matter the cost. She called on Congress to regulate Facebook. The social network's founder, Mark Zuckerberg, sent a letter to employees late yesterday insisting Haugen's claims are untrue. Kellogg's employees are on strike. 1,400 workers at all of the cereal company's U.S. plants walked off the job yesterday. The union and Kellogg's have been negotiating for more than a year over pay, benefits, and a threat to move work to Mexico. It's unclear how production of its brands like Frosted Flakes, Special K, and Raisin Bran will be affected. No hugging Mickey Mouse. Disney is bringing back indoor meet and greets with iconic characters at its theme parks for the first time since the pandemic began. But guests will have to snap their photos and say hi from a distance. The new policy goes into place next month. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
The Elberly Art Center is holding an open studio time for budding artists. Find out when you can stop by and get creative.
And we'll tell you why the park board's pool budget got worse over the summer.
There's a live look over Rochester. People are on their way to where they need to be this morning, and it's not too cold outside. Temps in the mid-50s and not as much fog as the past several mornings, but I am tracking some chances for rain towards the second half of the week.
Mic check, mic check.
Ahead on Daybreak, another drug maker seeks authorization of its COVID-19 booster shot when the FDA plans to decide when it could be approved.
And new COVID-19 cases are declining in the U.S., but health experts say we cannot let our guard down, especially since kids make up the majority of new weekly cases.
And I'm KIMT News 3's Madeline Watkins, breaking down the disparities between COVID-19 infections and different races. I'll tell you why these problems exist just ahead.
And I'm tracking another mild day with chances for rain in the forecast towards the later half of the week.
KIMT News 3, coverage you can count on. This is KIMT News 3's Daybreak, live from our Rochester studio.
Good morning, I'm Tyler Yutzka.
And I'm Brooke McKivergan. Thank you so much for watching KIMT News 3's Daybreak.
It's Wednesday, October 6th today. The time now is 6:31, currently in the 50s.
Let's check right in with KIMT Storm Team 3 meteorologist Sean Mackaday, because it's going to be a pretty nice day.
Yeah, it is going to be a pretty nice day, kind of similar to yesterday. We are going to start, though, with mostly cloudy skies now today. And because of those mostly cloudy skies, funny enough, you may not think this is how it works, but it's because of those cloudy skies this morning that we're actually not seeing much in the way of fog. The cloudy skies kept a little bit more heat in overnight, and that heat allowed it to not get cold enough to start to see fog, although we are close to that in places near Owatonna and just north of that I-35. That's where temperatures are around 50 degrees like Zumbrota. But across the rest of the area, they're in the mid-50s at this hour. Mid-50s. That is not cold enough for these conditions to get the fog. So really, we're just tracking a rather pleasant walk to school this morning. This temps remain in the mid-50s through about 9 a.m. Then they are starting to shoot back up into the 60s and all the way into the low 70s later on this afternoon. It gets a little bit more sunny towards around the afternoon, evening commute. But yeah, most of the day is going to be pretty cloudy. And then we're tracking more chances for rain in the forecast as we're working in towards Thursday and parts of the weekend.
Thank you, Sean. Johnson & Johnson is the latest drug maker to seek authorization to distribute a booster dose of its COVID-19 vaccine. To date, over 15 million Americans have received the company's single-shot vaccine. The FDA's Vaccine Advisory Committee will discuss the request at a meeting on October 15th.
And in continuing coverage earlier this week, we told you about how pandemic-related deaths are disproportionately affecting Black, Latino, and Native American men and women. That's according to some new research. So after evaluating nearly 500,000 excess deaths from the first 9 months of the pandemic, researchers found double the number of deaths among Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans when compared to white and Asian Americans. So the study authors say structural racism and inequitable vaccine distribution is what's playing a role in it.
And new for you this morning on Daybreak, KIMT News 3's Madeline Watkins is taking a closer look into why this is happening and how we can prevent health disparities in the future.
And she joins us live now. Madeline, good morning.
Good morning, Brooke and Tyler. Disparities are persistent all across the nation, and that, of course, includes right here in Olmsted County. But I'm learning that we're also seeing some positive actions or activities taking place that will continue to address these disparities within the table with the Rochester Diversity Council tells me the federal government has to focus on. So just recently, $217 million went towards increasing vaccination rates among minority population groups. 1 million of it came directly to Minnesota and straight into those grassroots communities. She says how we target minority groups and neighborhoods is different everywhere.
That's why those federal dollars, are going into the hands of people who are already trusted, right? Who come from within the populations they identify with, who then connect to resources and co-define, right? How does it work here? What do we actually need? What kind of messaging do we need? And in what languages? And who would be trusted to come and deliver vaccine?
Sable tells me that it's general mistrust within the medical field that's going on. She says that people are going to their former countries or where they're from and looking for information and updates on the pandemic when it shouldn't be that way. They need to be able to get all the information that they need right here in their own country. Live in Rochester, Madeline Watkins, KIMT News 3.
Madeline, thank you. Sable says these actions will also help us make better connections to lay the groundwork for tackling future disparities.
Rochester Public Schools is updating its coronavirus safety measures. So among the changes announced by the district last night, there are new metrics to determine when groups need to quarantine. If 15% of a classroom tests positive or shows symptoms of COVID-19, they would likely move to distance learning for 2 weeks. Now, the same would happen if half of a grade level or school building tests positive, shows symptoms, or is already quarantined.
That would be the point at which we would look at moving the whole class to distance learning. The reason it's not an absolute trigger is you might have, of those 15% of the kids, 10% who are nearing the last days of a quarantine and almost able to come back.
And the district also plans to try a test to stay, that is, style quarantine for alternate. Let me try that again. The district also plans to try a test to stay style quarantine alternative at 3 schools later on this month.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is calling on lawmakers to approve a series of new measures to respond to the fourth wave of the pandemic, including vaccine and testing requirements for teachers. Walz urged them to approve the measures during a special session that was originally planned for last month. So the goal was to approve a $250 million bonus package for frontline workers.
And new COVID-19 cases are going down, but in the U.S., but health experts say that we cannot let our guard down, and the FDA isn't. So October is shaping up to be a busy month with meetings scheduled for the 14th, 15th, and the 26th. Topics will include potential booster doses for Moderna, a potential booster dose for Johnson & Johnson, and the FDA is also set to consider the Pfizer vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11 years old, and that's a top priority. Children under 18 make up 22% of the population, but the latest figures available show they account for nearly 27% of all new weekly cases. The CDC says COVID-19 has killed well over 600 children.
Frankly, it's an embarrassment in a developed country to have even 100 children like we've had die of an infectious disease that's preventable.
More than 65% of eligible Americans are fully vaccinated.
Still ahead, the COVID-19 pandemic keeps causing disruptions. We'll tell you how it's creating issues at area pet shelters.
And it's Walk to School Day up next. Hear why it's not just for students.
And here's a live look right now over Rochester. I'm tracking your walk to school this morning, your walk back home later this afternoon, and some rain in the forecast towards later this week.
You're watching KIMT News 3 Daybreak, live from our Rochester studio. News with Tyler Yutzka and Brooke McKivergan. Tracking storms with Storm Team 3 meteorologist Sean McAday, who has your accurate local forecast every 10 minutes. This is KIMT News 3, local news from your community. We are coverage you can count on.
Mic check, 1, 2. Let me go check. It's TVU 4.
Rochester students are hitting the sidewalks in just a few hours to take part in Walk to School Day. It's designed to encourage students and their families to get active before school while becoming more familiar with their neighborhood. One Rochester Public School District kindergarten teacher that we spoke with says there are several activities that kids can take part in today. She says Walk to School Day isn't only for the students though.
In the morning when they come, we have little toe tokens to give our kids for walking. The state has also sent us like little reflective things to put on their students' backpacks who are walking. We've encouraged teachers to participate in walking around the school, just getting exercise throughout the day.
Elton Hills Elementary is the only school in the Rochester Public School District taking part this year. So if you'll be in that area right on Elton Hills Drive later on this morning, keep an extra eye out on the roads for all the kids walking out there.
It's 6:41 now on this Wednesday, 57 degrees.
So let's see what the weather will be like if you do plan to walk or bike to school. Sean.
Well, I think it's going to be, honestly, a pretty pleasant walk to school because right now temps are actually above average for what it normally is for an early to mid-October overnight temperature. Normally, we're well into the 40s at this time of day, but right now, temps widespread in the mid-50s, and they are going to stay there through the next several hours up until about 9 a.m. Mostly cloudy skies. So you probably want a jacket for the walk to school. You don't really need much more than that. It could be much cooler, but we're actually above average, and we're not tracking too much in the way of fog either at this hour because temperatures just not cold enough. Right now, it's 58 degrees in Rochester. If it were any cooler, starting to rev into that dew point, we would be talking about fog. But because it's just a little bit too warm, we really aren't. There's a little bit of fog towards like Zumbrota and parts just north of our area, north of Dodge County and Steele County. That's about it, though. Temperatures right now just not cool enough, and they're actually in the upper 50s, mid 50s through most of the area. Even 61 degrees in Charles City. That's the overnight low. That's very warm for this time of year, and it's all thanks to the cloud cover we had yesterday evening and throughout the day overnight. Now we are tracking chances for rain, not so much today, but really towards parts of tomorrow and later this week. First, a system from the south, not the west like it normally is, the south, coming from Tennessee, and this is coming with all this rain that we're seeing. Now, not all of that is going to make it into our area. Some of it is really going to move into Wisconsin and the Great Lakes. That comes late tonight, early tomorrow morning. For today, though, you can expect mostly cloudy skies for the first half of the day. Second half of the day, it may get a little bit more sunny as temperatures rise into the low 70s. You got some clouds overnight, but it's not going to get that cool. The much better chance for rain comes Thursday. Some smaller chances towards Friday and Saturday. We're back on Sunday and Monday after with even more chances. So today, the chances for rain are actually very, very small. We're just expecting mostly cloudy skies. Computer models, what you just saw, having a hard time really understanding this current atmospheric environment. So while it is showing some rain showers, we're not really expecting that today. That is going to change tomorrow morning. Scattered showers moving in with that system from the south that I showed you, and they're just going to be kind of on and off. It looks like we're going to get some of that for the Thursday morning commute, so you got to be thankful that tomorrow's not walk to school day. Be thankful that it's today, because if it were tomorrow, you would want a rain jacket. Tomorrow afternoon, mostly cloudy, low 70s. Again, it gets a little bit warmer into parts of Friday as that whole system is starting to move on its way out to the east. A couple more chances Friday and Saturday, but we get even more chances for rain Sunday. Monday, it looks like a rainy weather pattern is going to set in place starting Thursday. We're going to get another chance Sunday, another chance Monday, and that will not stop. I think next week there's going to be a couple more chances for like just nothing crazy, but a small chance for rain here and there, and that may not change through the third week of October. It looks like it's going to be above average, and you're occasionally going to have some rain showers. This is some nice fall weather still, though.
Yeah, definitely not snow quite yet because the temperature is still pretty high.
We'll take it.
Right, thank you, Sean. Well, when the nation shut down during the peak of the pandemic, many families forced to stay home ended up getting pets.
I sure did. Like many businesses, animal shelters changed their process by closing their doors to the public and strictly doing adoptions by appointment only. As of today, several shelters across our area are still doing that. KIMT News 3's Alex Deerer joins us live with why that is. Alex, good morning.
Good morning, Brooke and Tyler. Just like you mentioned, last year, humane societies and animal shelters found that they had a huge increase in people wanting to bring pets inside their homes during the 2020 peak of the pandemic. And now these same businesses find their doors closed yet again. I spoke with the executive director of the Humane Society of North Iowa, Sybil Sukup, who said last spring they saw a huge increase in adoptions through their appointment-only process after they closed their doors to the public. Over a year later, the Humane Society of North Iowa found its doors once again shut to the public. But this time, the reason is staffing shortages. The Humane Society is still offering adoption through an appointment-only process that involves customers filling out an online application to ensure the animals are going to a safe home. Sukup said their #1 priority throughout all the change is to take care of the animals.
They are getting the same level of care that they've always received. We've had people move over from different positions, or other people in the building have helped to kennel, and so the animals have not had any change in their level of care, and that is our priority. And that's why we know it's inconvenient and not great to be close to the public right now, but animal care is our priority, and I know that the public supports our mindset in this, and that we want to make sure that the animals' needs are met.
Sukup said while they continue to try and fill these job vacancies, they will prioritize the safety and the needs of all of the animals. Live in Rochester, Alex Dieterer, KIMT News 3.
Thanks, Alex. The Humane Society of North Iowa has over 100 cats and 35 dogs ready to be adopted.